everybody, and welcome back to the funniest tweets. Today we are doing the Chinese Grand Prix, which of course has been a sprint weekend. We've had lots of carnage, but most of your memes are of course about the race that's happened today on the Sunday. And look, I'm a big fan of the Shanghai International Circuit. Really excited to see it back on the calendar. Did it deliver to the extent that I was hoping? Maybe not. But your memes did, so let's dive into them right now. Stroll being Stroll. So the biggest talking point, the biggest meme creation area has to be Lance Stroll being Lance Stroll behind the safety car and deciding that Daniel Ricciardo does not deserve a diffuser anymore and just drove into the back of him. Fully sent him into the air. And let's get into the memes. At U_19, Stroll banishing Ricky Bobby to the Shadow Realm. Now, I know there was a concertina effect. There was a few drivers getting caught out. But there was one man, Lance Stroll, that decided that brakes weren't necessary and used Daniel Ricciardo's RB to slow down instead. And did, in fact, send Ricky Bobby into the Shadow Realm. I love how we've got the little... Is that Yu-Gi-Oh? I feel like it is. I used to play it as a kid a lot, you know, in the canteen. And yeah, I was properly obsessed with it. And I'm pretty sure, even it says, see a car braking ahead of you and just don't slow down. Take a big old yeet, stuff it in an envelope, lick the stamp and send it. That is an actually amazing meme. So well done, Adam, for that one. At Dummy Batman 8, Stroll the moment the safety car ends. Oh, he's even got Lance Stroll golf balls. That's crazy. But yes, the problem for me is that Lance had enough of a gap to not crash into Daniel Ricciardo. If he was right there and then the whole thing happened there and just hit him, fair enough. But he just kind of rolled into him. Not enough attention being paid to the cars ahead. Now, I've done it a few times in sim racing, but I'm not paid millions and millions of pounds to drive at the highest level of motorsport. Lance is. Now, the big question obviously being posed from this is how will this affect the driver market into next year? Because Lance's seat is definitely under threat now. At Agent 7x200 Verstappen watching the Stroll-Ricciardo replay. This was quite possibly my favourite part of the weekend, where Max, seeing the incident for the first time, I will stress time and time again, I love watching the drivers watch the race back. I feel like they should be forced, all of them, to watch a 10-minute highlight in a room and we just get to see the drivers' reactions, because Max was fully just like vomit laughed. That's the only way I can put it. It just came out and it was amazing to see, because he was as shocked as we were to see that happen. At Joachim Neumann 8, Stroll at the restart. Yes, look, there were some people going to Lance's defence, but the thing I will say to that is, why was it Lance Stroll that ended up doing it? Argument over. At Illumin Eddie, Lance to DR. Very, very apt. Poor old Danny Rick. He wasn't going to score points, so it didn't really matter. And then his team radio afterwards, oh, I've got no rear. Yes, because Lance has removed the entire back of your car, Danny. But he had a slightly better weekend, didn't he, compared to Yuki, so small silver linings. At Azura Light, Stroll, this idiot just slammed on the brick, also Stroll. The thing that I didn't get is that Lance was genuinely really angry with how it all went down and that it wasn't his fault. No, it was because of the fact that everybody was getting caught out in front of him. Not Lance's fault. Really? Really, Lance? Rosberg commentary. Now, Nico Rosberg in commentary. It's a unique experience, isn't it? I think he absolutely brings unparalleled insight into what's going on in a race, why drivers are doing certain things. The older drivers, ex-drivers, the Martin Brundles, the Damon Hills, even the current Chandocks, they can bring a level of insight, but it's not modern day insight, which Nico Rosberg brings. However, there is also an element that this meme perfectly brings in. At Minoru79, Crofty and Nico Rosberg's broadcast chemistry. I hate you. It feels like they do genuinely hate each other. Does anyone else get that? They are constantly trying to one-up each other. I think at one point, Crofty said it was it was a cloudy day, and Nico said, I disagree, it's sunny with a few clouds. That sums up their chemistry. I genuinely think they don't like each other, which does make for slightly uncomfortable listening. But then also Nico bringing that insight is really great. So maybe if they can just dial it down slightly with the hatred, I think you'd have a perfect duo of commentary. At Break Bias 50, Nico Rosberg has been awesome commentating. This is the thing, right? Some people don't enjoy the fact that they are constantly at each other's throats. Other people think it is absolute 10 out of 10 drama. And of course, with Nico's insight, it's fantastic. Let me know where you sit on this. Do you love the combination? Because if you then compare it to maybe Crofty and Jenson Button, those two get along like a house on fire, but I feel like it goes too far and they're just constantly joking and don't actually really get to the point like Nico perhaps does and just calls out Crofty on anything he disagrees with. At Mayuk Moan, every time Nico Rosberg sees his name on any stat, just past pole sitters or past winners and all sorts of stuff. Nico, that's me. That guy. Yeah, I did that. I love it. I do genuinely love the unique style of Nico Rosberg's commentary. Just, you don't know what he's going to say next, and I think that is the beautiful thing of what Nico brings. And I'm here for it. I'll have more of it. But I think Crofty and Rosberg need to go out for dinner, squash whatever beef they have, which is a strange... Why do they seem to have kind of beef? I don't know what's gone on there. But... they may well be the partnership, if Nico does want to do more than one commentary appearance a year, that could take over the world. And finally, Anjan_PN, finally on this topic, of course, Nico Rosberg's insightful commentary during this weekend let The Rock drop some gospel on your goofy ass. It's so true. Nico, there is one truth in life, and it is what he thinks. There's no in between. Nico Rosberg, that's it. That is all he believes in. Honourable mentions. At BallR004, I mean, real fans know why Ferrari was slow this week. Look, you cannot blame me here. I know that obviously I saw both the drivers and it didn't go the best. Ferrari was slower than McLaren, which was unexpected to everyone, including Lando himself, saying that he'd put a bet on that he was going to finish 35 seconds behind the Ferraris. But look, Carlos did have a spin in quali, but kept it reasonably undamaged. And Charles had a good race, so don't blame me. At DNotBot, I think this sums up Sauber's season. Sauber pit stops and engines. I've never seen that meme template before, but I love it. That is great thinking outside the box. And Valtteri Bottas, he was having such a good race, such a good weekend. He was beating out Zhou very, very comprehensively and could well have scored a point this weekend, and he deserved it. He genuinely did. And then his car went nope, and I do genuinely feel sorry for him because Valtteri, low grip tracks, becomes Michael Schumacher. At Ethan 435-911-97, Yuki when Matt predicts biggest flop. I'm 5 from 5 now in biggest flop predictions this year, which is ridiculous because I was pretty good last year with biggest flop. This year, 100% record. I need to start putting my money where my mouth is, although I'm not sure how you would predict or bet on biggest flop. At CS_Tux, Alonso going through the last corner on his way to overtake Hamilton. I think I had a slight voice crack there, which is what also Nico Rosberg had plenty of times this weekend. But Alonso, round the final corner, dips his wheel in the gravel, and you're thinking that is Carlos Sainz territory in qualifying all over. But the rookie, beautifully, the 18-year-old Fernando Alonso just corrects the car. He has got a great career ahead of him. At I am Lord Vile, the Chinese crowd every time Zhou did an overtake. It was so wholesome to see the Chinese crowd just celebrating everything that Zhou did. Of course, making Q3 was a massive SQ3. Sorry, was making an amazing. It was an amazing achievement for Zhou. And even when he was passing K-Mag or whoever it might be for 15th or 16th. The Chinese crowd cheered like he'd just taken the lead, and it was amazing to watch. At turn to page 394, funny how Ferrari is committing to the code words, even though everyone knows what it means. I know. Plan D was the most obvious, do you want to do a one-stop, I think anyone's ever seen, especially when they were saying, everyone around you is probably on Plan D as well. Ferrari, if you're going to use code words and code plans, at least not make it completely obvious what you're talking about. Otherwise, what's the point? At Defo Not the Stig, Lando finding where to park after the race. I know, Lando going down into the pit entry, then realising, oh, I got a podium. I should be on the pit straight, parking up in my second position. But then decided not to 180 it and potentially get a penalty and just parked in Parc Fermé instead, which was the right decision, because you never know, the FIA may well have just slapped him with a penalty for dangerous driving. We didn't want that. At Alex Humphrey 33, why does every decision the FIA make take 7 years? Yeah, this one was a little bit... I think the camera angle made it look closer than it was, where Bottas parked, and it looked like he was almost on the track. He wasn't, but still, if a driver had a problem and carried on straight, Bottas was quite literally out of his car, and all they were doing was flying yellow flags. Just throw the VSC and then make a decision. Why do you take so long to neutralise the race? I would argue that a yellow flag flying is not neutralised enough for a driver's safety that is literally standing just off the track. Use the VSC, that is what it's there for. But every time we complain, they don't do anything. At Formula Latest, they did it. A 3-second pit stop for Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber. Well done. They did have some slower ones, but they also did something in the slight realms of acceptable. At Mundia Barnabas, FIA be like, it's been a while. Yeah, it felt like they had a meeting for penalties and then just agreed on all of them and then threw them out there. It wasn't like it was particularly stagnated. No, it was penalty, 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 penalty. Thank you very much, done for the day. Mick Schumacher meme. At Selstone, safety car going back in. The drivers, of course, safety cars breed safety cars, as I think Martin Brundle loves to say. And that's exactly what happened with Tsunoda getting hit by K-Mag. Lance Stroll obviously sending Danny Rick into the shadow realm. But apart from that, it's not like those safety cars created anything towards the front, did it? Really? At Traxxas 58, Stroll and Magnussen fighting for last. Now, I do love the wheelie bin gif, and when it is suitable, I will include it. However, it was actually good racing. I know that they were probably a lot slower than everybody else, but all I saw was great wheel-to-wheel action, and it was the best battle I think we saw the entire race. It's a pity it was quite literally for, I think, the last running position in the race. But thank you, Stroll and Magnussen, for entertainment nonetheless. At Thomas Norris, the restart after the safety car. Yeah, I don't think we thought that was going to unfold as much as it did, but we got some chaos. But yeah, it still didn't produce, especially if you are a Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, Oscar Piastri fan, much happiness, did it? At Ahmed_Backbar, beautiful moment for Zhou stealing the spotlight from the top three. I assume that means spotlight from the top three. But yeah, Zhou having his own special little place to park was really wholesome. Of course, Zhou crying, and it did tug on the heartstrings. It did make me wonder, like, are we going to see this for other home races and drivers? Probably not. But of course, with it being China and the amazing support, I can see why F1 did it, and it was very, very nice to watch. And it did also feel like Zhou had just won the race. And did anyone else feel that way? He was crying and really properly celebrating. Max Verstappen got out having actually won the race and is like, yeah, great race from everybody, thanks so much. And yeah, it was slightly weird to watch, wasn't it? At Iturka 11 in his passenger princess era. Just there with his hands on the shoulders. I'm Bottas. Oh, I do feel sorry for Bottas. He was robbed of a potential point, but Nico Hülkenberg scored a point again in the Haas that we thought was going to be terrible. Nico's doing a great job this year, and he is being underappreciated. At Nerdy Nash 31, that has to be the best double stack pit stop I've ever seen. Red Bull pit crew are monstrous. Yes, they deserve a shout out this weekend. 2.1, 2.0, 2.0 and 1.9 second pit stops this weekend. At least, well, yeah, I was going to say this weekend we did have 2 races, but they didn't pit in the sprint, did they? That is unbelievable. And to put on top of that, it was technically double stacks. I know Perez was slightly further behind Max, but still, same lap pit stops, and that's what they did. Unbelievable. Right, it is now time for Tommy's Tasty Tweet, sponsored by EA and F124. Tommy, who has won a copy of F124 when it releases?
That lucky person is Kieran Daly with this brilliant meme. Had to be done. The biggest flop curse hit again. How dare you? It hit big as well. Actually, Yuki getting taken out the race. And yeah, it was always going to be done this. And I can't believe you've got 5 from 5. Shocking.
That's the thing. We actually did a little tease on Twitch as well, if you were watching the watch along, saying, look, if someone makes that meme, you might well win Tommy's Tasty Tweet. And that's exactly what you've done. So well done. F124 is going to be with you when it releases. Thanks, Tommy.
Bye.
Right, that is it. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for tuning in to this Funniest Tweet series, and also for tuning in over Twitch across the weekend. I know for Europeans it has been quite some difficult start times, but look, we can't complain. Formula One is here. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've got another sprint race weekend coming in Miami. Back-to-back sprints. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel as though the novelty will wear off slightly if we start to have back-to-backs. But also, F1 have gone, well, Miami is terrible in terms of racing action. What can we do to improve it? Let's have another race and maybe one of them will be good. Maybe it will work out. Thank you to everybody for getting involved. Hashtag P1 if you want to next time, and you may well get a chance of winning F124 when it releases. Big thanks to EA for sponsoring the series as always, and we'll see you very soon. We've got lots more content, as you know. You've got your full race podcast, you've got the driver ratings, and yeah. We're going to be going to Abu Dhabi, actually, literally this evening as well, for a very special video. We're then going to Monaco Formula E straight after that. So look forward to lots of coverage, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of love. See you soon.